Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome to Sorvent's non-meta tournament number 7. So it's been quite a bit of time since I've uploaded a non-meta video, so really quick, if you are new to the channel or at least new to the non-meta tournaments, these are just tournaments with the majority of meta decks and cards hit. So basically it's just promoting more of basically just fair gameplay, I guess, so you're not just like losing to a floodgate or an absolutely broken Bear, and up at the top we have Pokevarios. And I believe that TK Bear is on Prank Kids, and I don't exactly remember what Pokevario is on. We can go ahead and see their hands. It looks like he's on Magical Muskets. So, in this tournament, Meow Meow is actually still legal. In the previous format, the Prank Kids deck did win. In fact, TK Bear was the one who ended up winning that tournament. So we decided to hit Fansies and I believe Dropsies to 1 to see if the grind potential of the deck would get hit. So do keep that in mind for the rest of this match. But I believe that Magical Muskets have no hits to them, so we'll see exactly what he can do here. So he's going to start with a, not a normal summon, but a activation of Upstart Goblin to get a draw card. And all he really needs is just a one Prank Kid. I mean, obviously the Fancies should be a full combo here. So he should go into the Meow Meow, and then I believe that if Fancies just sends one of the remaining colored pieces, like the blue or the green, he should be fine. But he's actually opting to go for Place, which I guess is kind of strange. Summoning a copy of Lampsies out of the deck and then linking those with the Meow Meow off into a Doodle. I guess he could summon the Dropsies here with the Lampsies, and he should probably be fine as well to just search for the field spell. So yep, it looks like he's just going to get the Dropsies out of the deck, search for the fusion spell, and then he can just go ahead and use the Doodle effect to bring back the Lamp and the Fan. And he should have basically a free Raigeki on the opponent's turn. So looks like that was honestly a really good choice on his part. He has 4 back row set, which is pretty nuts. Impermanence went from 2 to 3 on the most recent list as well, which is kind of nice. And the reason, if you are unaware as to why he's playing Cyframe Gear Delta, it is because Gamma is limited, so you kind of have to find a place to like fit in another Cyframe hand trap. So you can play 3 Delta, 1 Gamma, and then the 1 Driver. But normal summon to Caspar is just going to get hit with a Solemn Judgment. I believe he tries to chain Last Stand here. You actually can't do this. Obviously, he's trying to chain again an Imperm. You can't respond to a counter trap, so this Impermanent shouldn't be activated either. But the reason that you actually can't activate Last Stand is because the Magical Musket monster actually hasn't touched the field yet. So this effect here that you can't activate, or you can activate the Magical Musket spell traps from your hand, is not applying yet because the monster is not on the field. So looks like Judgment's going to resolve correctly here. He's just going to pay the 4,000 life points. Obviously the Impermanence is going to go back set face down as well. And a copy of Prod of Prosperity is going to be dropped here as well, sending 6 cards from the top of the deck, or actually excavating them. We'll see what he picks up here. It looks like he's just going to pick up a Monster Reborn. That's a really nice, good option here. I think that is honestly very, very smart. Obviously, since he could just activate the Caspar, or target the Caspar, bring it back, and then he's good to go from there. So a copy of Pandemonium is going to be used here, and he's just going to fuse off into a Battle Butler. It's nice for him to do that because last time can only negate spell or trap cards, so obviously preemptively activating the Pandemonium is probably a smart play. Getting Caspar back to the field, then he's just going to go ahead and activate Crooked Crown. I think that he should probably chain the Battle Butler's effect here because I don't think there's anything else in his hand. But so the monster summons to the field, and then all of these chains will activate, and then he could use the Crooked Crown as chain 4. So we do have some chains to resolve here. So Fan, Drop, and Lamp all need to use their effect, so they will resolve. Looks like Plan is going to be sent from the deck to the grave. He's going to gain life points. And then in the new chain, the Crooked Crown is activated as chain link 4. And then in a new chain, Caspar is going to be activated here. Which is kind of strange. He probably shouldn't do that. Well, I guess the Impermanence is going to come down anyways. I was thinking he could just use Battle Butler's effect to just clear the board, and then he wouldn't have to worry about the Caspar. Like, use the Battle Butler as chain link 5. But it looks like he's just going to not do that and just use the Impermanence effect, which means he can chain Crooked Crown's effect to special summon a Magical Musket from hand. So he can actually like chain to it since it is the imperm column, because the imperm hasn't resolved yet. So I know he says here that you can't because of the imperm column, but that's because he's thinking that like imperm just immediately negates, but like you have to wait for the chain to resolve. But he's not yeah, so he doesn't have to activate the last stand because obviously he was given false information. So we're resolving the Crooked Crown as chain link 2, and then resolving, or actually chain link 3, chain 2, and then chain 1. Obviously the cast bar gets negated, and then the Kid Brave gets summoned from hand due to the Crown's effect. He's gonna link off into a copy of Max. This is also really like weird. I don't know why he's not using Battle Butler to just destroy the cards on the field, because he wouldn't have to deal with these cards. Because obviously if he activates the impermanence here to negate this, then obviously the Kid Brave can trigger as well. So it would just be a smarter play altogether to just use the Battle Butler to just clear the board, and then you'd save your impermanence as well as you'd keep all of your monsters, including your Battle Butler, because you have a Meow Meow to banish and grave in the place of the Battle Butler. So he's gonna chain the Battle Butler, which is a really weird choice here. He is adding the back row from deck to hand, so he's gonna add Cross Dom, Desperado, Dancing Needle, and the last one's Fiendish Steel. And obviously both of these are going to get cleared from the board. So he's just going to go to end phase. He's got a bunch of magical musket spells and traps, but he has no muskets to summon at all. So I think that it should be a pretty clear game from here. He can just link off for a Roxy, like link Roxy's and a Meow Meow. Use Meow Meow's effect to probably just banish, yeah, the Delta. That makes sense. Special Lampseas from the deck, and I know he's on the Leviair, but there's not really anything you can summon here. You could summon the Delta back, but there's no reason to do that. So I think he's just going to overlay. Oh, looks like he's on Breaksword as well. That's actually a pretty good choice here. He's going to link off into a copy of Bow Wow Bark. So the reason he's going for Bow Wow Bark and not for a second copy of Doodle is because Doodle is also limited. So I forgot to mention that earlier. But this should be game here, or at least close to it. I believe he's just going to hit him for 7,000. I think if he just placed his monsters a little bit more carefully, I think he would have had game. I think, like, obviously if like this Battle Butler was just a zone over, and then the Bow Wow Bark could have get summoned here, and then he would have had the 1,000 attack bonus. But that is kind of like a lot of like planning to do that, if that makes sense. So he's going to go into main phase 2, use Prank Kids Pranks, and use the effect to go ahead and send back the Doodle, the Dropsies, and the Roxies to just kind of recycle a little bit of your engine. He's also going to get a draw here into Pot of Avarice, which is such a busted top deck. Looks like he's just going to go with a Pot of Prosperity, probably banishing 3. Oh, he hits a Magical Musket, which is honestly perfect. There's not really much else you could really ask for here. And then it looks like he's probably also going to, not using the Upstart Goblin yet. That's kind of interesting. But on summon, he's immediately just going to use the Battle Butler's effect. And then he could chain, yeah, it looks like he chains Fiendish Steel, so they can't be destroyed by card effects. So that's actually pretty unfortunate now that the Starfire is just kind of like free to just link off into a max. So that's pretty unfortunate as well, but Imperm's going to come down, and then I believe that this copy of Last Stand is going to come down as well. So we're going to see a bunch of them hit the board here. It looks like he's going to go with a Caspar, a Starfire, and Desperado's going to follow after that. And then he's probably going to target the Bow Wow Bark, which is going to get chained here. He's going to target the Fan of the Lamp, which is going to get hit with a Dancing Needle to banish 3. So that's pretty rough. Chain resolves, and then in a new chain, he can use Caspar and Starfire's effect. So that's going to be pretty rough here too. Obviously, you can special one from deck, and then you can also add one from the deck to hand with the Caspar effect. So he's going to add another Dancing Needle, which is really broken, especially against this deck where like you already are on limited Prank Kids resources because of the limits of those cards. You're like in a really rough spot. So Upstart Goblins, he's going to gain 1,000 life points, and then he's just going to... I'm not sure why he gained it and then lost it immediately. Oh, he was in the Imperm column. That's why. That's actually pretty funny. So it is just going to resolve negated. He won't gain the life points, and then Calamity is going to go ahead and use its effect, a special one from back from the grave, summoning back the Starfire, and then he can start linking up these monsters. Maybe he's not going to link them off. I mean, obviously he banished a lot with Prosperity, so his extra deck is looking a little small here. He's just going to pass his turn, I guess. So in the standby phase, he's going to go ahead and use Dancing Needle's effect, probably to banish the Pandemonium, the Roxy's, and the Bow Wow. Let's see what he hits. He's actually hitting place, leaving the Roxy's in the graveyard. That's actually kind of an interesting choice. Let's see what he can do here. So it looks like he's just going to use the Caspar effect because obviously the Dancing Needle was activated into the column. Searching out a copy of Desperado. And Desperado can just still activate in the standby phase and then probably pop the Break Sword. So that's exactly what he's going to do here. And there is just 4 monsters in the graveyard, so this Avarice is offline. Starfire can use its effect as well to summon one from deck, summoning a Dock, and then go into main 1. So he's going to normal summon this copy of Dropsies and link it off for a Meow Meow. Dropsy is going to give him 1,000 life points. He's going to special summon a copy of Roxy's from the deck, and then link those off into a copy of Doodle Doo. I think that he might actually just be able to just like attack over this max, because obviously if one gets hit with the cross dom, then he's fine to just attack with the other for game. So I think in either situation he has game here, but we'll see. So Pot of Avarice coming down, also shuffling back all of the print kids that he used on this turn as well. And get some free draws here. So he draws into another copy of Roxy's, which is pretty good. Goes into battle phase and uses the Battle Butler to attack. He hits him with a cross dom to just go ahead and, yeah, obviously get rid of it. He's going to take the 1,000 points of damage, and then Doodle is just going to... Oh, he's going to use Battle Butler's effect. I forget that exists. He can target a non-fusion engrave and then special back. So he's just bringing back the Break Sword. And then, yeah, he can just attack for the 1,000 damage anyways. So, obviously, it didn't really matter either way. He still had game, so he was just kind of like... Pokevarus was honestly just like holding on, seeing if his opponent would misplay, basically. So, yeah, looks like he's just going to normal Calamity and pass his turn. So, all he has is just a cross dom. Obviously, TK Bear doesn't know this, but it's literally just like basically an imperm. That's the best way to explain it. So, Upstart Goblin's going to come down, and strange enough, he's just doing it in the Calamity column, which is honestly a really bad play because now Calamity can use its effect, but obviously he doesn't have a Musket card engrave, so it doesn't really matter. But usually you do want to activate in separate columns, just in case, because like if he can like activate like, you know, something in hand to discard for cost, and then on resolution you can use the Calamity effect. So I think it's just a bad practice to just activate in the Magical Musket columns, but anyways, he's going to normal summon Fancies and link it off for a copy of Meow Meow. Use the effect to special summon a Lampsies from the deck. And then he can use the... obviously, he has to send a card from deck to grave, so he's sending the the trap card. And then he's going to link off the Lamp and the Meow into a copy of Doodle Doo, which is going to start a lot of chains here. So it looks like he's just going to get hit with the Cross Dom to just negate the Doodle. That's probably a pretty smart play. Probably the best card to hit here. Lamp is going to summon a copy of Dropsies, going to take 500 points of damage here. And obviously the Print Kid's place, is going to be the one that is going to reduce all of the monsters your opponent controls by 500. So this Calamity is at 1,000 attack. So do remember that. Bow Bark is going to be summoned here off of the Dropsies plus the copy of Doodle Doo. And then he's going to go ahead and special summon a Lampsies from the deck. Going into battle phase, he can just attack for 500 over, actually 1,000 over due to the plan or place. I completely forgot about that. Red Reboot's going to come down, and then he's also going to set a copy, or activate a copy of I keep getting the names confused, but Pranks, to go ahead and shuffle 3 back. Probably this copy of Doodle as well to ensure that you can get the search on the following turn. Drawing into an Avarice is super good here as well. So he keeps hitting this Avarice in this duel. Like, this is like a really good card here. But he's going to normal summon Dock. And then he is going to link it off into a copy of Max. So unfortunately, there's just nothing you can do about the normal summon, especially because he has like no interruption outside of this Red Reboot. So it's pretty rough. I think that Imperm honestly hit him pretty hard, but he's going to go ahead and add a couple spells and traps. I think just 2. I think it adds for monsters. Yeah, it does. So he's going to add two of them. Crooked Crown is going to be activated here. He's going to get hit with a Red Reboot, which is going to set a Dancing Needle to the field. So that's pretty rough. He has a interruption on the following turn, and for some reason he just sent the Crooked Crown to grave. It doesn't get negated. It sets itself back. I don't know if they'll fix that, but it does just go face down again. It looks like they're not going to fix it, which is kind of strange. I know I'm currently watching this, but I wasn't paying attention, I guess. So normal summon of Roxy's, he's going to go ahead with a D barrier. Going into, he decided to try and declare Link, but you can't because it's not listed on D barrier, which means you can't call it. So he's just gonna call Fusion, which is fine. Then Print Kid's Roxy is going to be linked off into a copy of Meow Meow, and then Meow Meow is probably going to, or Roxy's is probably going to use its effect here. Yeah, banishing the Terraforming makes a lot of sense. Going for a Cosmic Cyclone, which can probably hit the last back row. Oh no, he didn't draw that. He just added it to hand, which, yeah. He opened his deck before. So basically what happens is with Roxy's, you have to banish and then draw and then look at your deck to special. But it looks like he just banished and then picked up his deck. There's no way to confirm that the Cosmic Cyclone was the card he drew, so we're just going to make it a random draw. So he shuffled his deck, drew a copy of Avarice, and then a Lampseas gets special summoned. He links off into a copy of Doodle Doo, which will search for another spell, probably into the Pandemonium, I assume here. Also getting a special summon for the Dropsies is pretty good here. Pot of Avarice is going to be activated here, and a Dancing Needle is going to be used here, targeting whatever he targets, and that's pretty rough, honestly. It makes the Avarice resolve with no effect, since you obviously have to shuffle all 5 of them, as stated on Avarice here. If I can actually pull up the card, it says shuffle all 5 into the deck, so if you don't shuffle all 5, you don't get the draw too, so that's pretty unfortunate. He's just going to start swinging over his monsters. Attacking, I believe that's 500 over, and then 3,000 since this is boosted due to Bow Bark's effect. And then he's just going to go straight to end phase, which is pretty weird here. Oh, I guess that makes sense since Doodle Doo, obviously you don't really have anything to shuffle back. But Print Kid's Pranks is going to shuffle some cards back. He's going to draw into a copy of Ghost Ogre, which is not bad at all. It's actually like okay because of the Fiendish Deal. You can just kind of chain that, so it just kind of sucks. Actually, he's just going to go ahead and activate Fiendish Deal. But there's no way, like, obviously the Ogre doesn't really work here because the Fiendish Deal is already resolved by the time you activate Doc's effect. So it's pretty unfortunate. He's going to add Crooked Crown back from the graveyard to hand, which obviously should be probably on the field. But they forgot about Red Reboot's effect, but, you know. Then it looks like Max is going to be summoned, and then that's going to bring out a Starfire and a Caspar from the deck. And then he's going to activate this copy of Crossdom to, I don't know actually what he targeted there, but then he's going to be using the effect of Caspar to search, and then he's going to use the Desperado to hit the copy of Doodle Doo. He probably negated the Babel Bark, I assume, since there's no targets in the graveyard. He can't obviously chain the card either, so that's pretty rough on his part. Then this copy of Crooked Crown can come down as well, and then the Calamity is going to summon back the Doc from the graveyard, and then he can just link off these cards into like a security bounce the Dropsies, and then I think he can just attack for the majority of damage here. Let's see what exactly he does. He actually could have used Ghost Ogre on the Security Dragon, which he probably should have done, because then like it just clears the body of the field, and there's no way to hit anything else, right? So maybe you could like hit one of these like when they activate their effects like in the spell and trap zone. I don't think that they really have one, so there's not really like, yeah, it looks like they don't really have like a, oh wait, this one does, to special summon from hand, so I guess you could like hold the Ghost Ogre for that, but there's not really like a whole lot of good like situations where that is like really ideal. But it looks like Dancing Needle's going to come down and just banish a couple of cards, and obviously having 3 copies of Lampseas banished is pretty rough as well. The only Print Kids left in his deck is 3 Rock, 1 Drop, 1 Fan, so he's down to 5 Print Kids. Obviously he has the drop in hand, so just those 4 Print Kids in deck, which is pretty rough. Searches for Desperado here. Normal summons Dropsies, and obviously he can just activate the Desperado, use the effect, and just bring back into Crossdom. He has another negation. It's pretty rough. He can pretty much just like set cards, but there's not really else he can do. Pot of Prosperity is going to be used here, hitting a copy of Delta, which is actually kind of nice, since obviously Delta is primarily used in this format to stop like Pot of like spell cards like Pot of Desires, Pot of Prosperity, you know, just like pretty good like draw spells like that. Then Caspar is going to use its effect to grab a copy of Desperado, and I think he actually might be able to just kill him here. And yeah, oh, actually, he can't even use the Caspar since the activation got negated. So he's going to go to battle phase, just attack over his monsters, and hit him for, it looks like, 2,600. And we're gonna have to see. Hope he gets like a really good top deck here, because if he doesn't get a really good one, it's pretty much over. So it's pretty rough. So he's gonna draw for turn, drawing into a Cosmic Cyclone. That's like all right. So he's gonna set this copy of Ghost Ogre, set the Cosmic Cyclone, and pass his turn. It actually is kind of funny. He can't really out this Ghost Ogre with the current monsters he has on field. So we'll see exactly what he does here. Looks like he's just going to go into a Ningirsu and then probably use the effect to just send something else to the graveyard. It's pretty rough there, and then he can pretty much just go for game. So, yep. So, very long game number 1 and 2. We'll see how long game number 3 is as well. So, looks like TK Bear's opting to go first, and he drew no Prank Kids cards, or no monsters at least. That's pretty rough. So, Imperms, Storming Air Force, and Drop. Let's see what they can do. Wow. Said Super Poly Pass. Wow, that's pretty rough. Drawing into a Solemn Judgment's pretty rough as well. But he, Poke of Arrows drew into a Caspar, so that's actually a pretty good normal summon. He's going to start with that. Solemn Judgment's going to come down on that as well, though, so just trading 1 for 1 and passing his turn. Upstart Goblin's going to hopefully get us into some Prank Kids cards. We'll see exactly what he can do. Nope, drawing into a Pot of Avarice and pass. That's pretty rough. Wow, drawing just interruption and nothing else. This is pretty crazy. Roxy's actually is finally drawn here. He normal summons it, goes into a copy of Meow Meow, uses the effect to banish this copy of Pot of Avarice, draws a card, and then goes into Fansies. Fansies and the Meow Meow is going to link off into a Doodle, and then Doodle and Fansies are both going to use their effect. He's going to search for a copy of Prank Kids Place, which is a pretty good choice here, honestly. He probably needs to send the red one to the grave, the Lampsies, off of the fan, so we'll see exactly what he sends here. No, but he's just sending the plan. I think that's a really bad choice, because obviously in main 2 you should just use the Doodle to add back the fan and the plan or whatever you search. Or I guess you could just use place to search it, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But he's not opting to do either of those, which is kind of strange. Just getting into your fusion is like really smart. But he does have a lot of interruption otherwise, so it's not like the worst thing ever. So it looks like Monster Reborn is going to come down here. That's going to get with a Solemn Warning, and I think he's just going to pass his turn. So that's pretty rough. Psychic Eraser Laser could come down here. He probably should have used that. But it looks like he's not opting to do either of those. So Prank Kids Place is going to go ahead and search for a copy of Lampsies, and then he's going to probably normal the Lampsies. Yep. Link it off into a Meow Meow, use the effect of Dropsies to get a copy of Roxy's from the deck. And then at this point, he can just link those off into a Bow Wow Bark. I think the zoning is a little weird. I think he definitely should have summoned the Lampsies in the middle, because that would have been, let's see, that would have been 65 total. So that would have almost been game. Then in main 2, he could just link off like the Lamp and these guys into one of the link 4s and probably killed him. Going into a copy of Lampsies here, that was fine. And then this Doodle Doo is also going to get the Dropsies and the fan back to the hand. Let's see. So Pandemonium looks like he's going to fuse them off as well. So maybe he can actually put enough damage here. I think that is actually enough. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, since the plan is going to be enough. But yeah, so we never really got to see these D-shifters come down, unfortunately. And a Psychic Razor Laser. Probably should have used this effect on the previous turn to get rid of the Doodle, just to like kind of push it. But yeah, obviously TK Bear I think had more like powerful interruption overall, so I think that even if Pokeveras probably drew some more prank or some magical muskets, I think that TK Bear probably had the game down in the bag. It's kind of hard to say, but obviously that game number 3 was actually just pretty much one-sided at that point, so it was kind of rough. But that's going to do it for today's video. I know it's kind of a long match than usual. Usually these are like 10-15 minutes, but we're almost hitting 25 minutes, so at this point I'm probably just gonna end the video off. So hope you guys enjoyed. If you do want to play these matches or in this tournament, you can go ahead and join the link in the description below. There's going to be a link to the Discord server. It's a lot of fun. I would hope that I see you there. So with all that said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you later.